Hi, and welcome to the dumbest YouTube channel in all of Lancashire. Don't you just hate really excitable automotive YouTubers? I know I do. What about you, Paul?
Yeah, I'm not that keen on them, to be honest.
But today we have got a reason to be excited because we've got one of the greatest cars of the 90s. Yes, the 90s. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Steve, isn't that a Peugeot 205? Yes, it is. And furthermore, isn't it one of the small number, because they made nearly 5.5 million 205s, the small number of convertibles, or if you prefer, cabriolet. What does cabriolet mean, Paul? Go on, quick, answer. Folding roof. Keep up.
Yeah, you lost me there.
Not for the first time. Right, so yes, it is a 205, and yes, the Peugeot 205 was voted Car of the Decade by Car Magazine in 1990, which, Paul, means it was the car of which decade?
The 90s?
God, you're stupid, aren't you?
The 80s?
Why do I work with you?
The
80s. I used to be a respected automotive journalist on a proper programme with millions of viewers, and now I'm reduced to this, honestly. The 80s. They were right. I'll tell you the one thing they were right about. This was and remains a fantastic car. Now, this is 1.6. It's the later 1.6 version of the GTI engine, so it's got the big heads, so it's 150, like me, it's 115 brake horsepower, as people tend to do as a car goes through its life. Someone's fitted the bigger wheels from the 1.9, but it's a more powerful car. It's got half leather seats as well, which again are a later addition. But this was a clever car because Peugeot saw that VW, well, not just Peugeot, everyone saw that VW had neglected to offer the fantastic Mark II Golf in cabriolet form. And so they thought, quick, let's cash in. They got in touch with Pininfarina. The cars were kind of half built in France, then sent down to Italy for the roof to be chopped off, that rollover hoop to be installed, and then they went back to France to be finished off. But before we drive it, Paul, I think we need to get changed.
Yeah?
Yeah, two reasons. One, I love dressing up, and two, we just don't look right. We look like ruffians.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
I don't.
We need to properly appreciate this car, to be more in tune with this car. We need to be more fun-loving, more frivolous, more cabriolet.
What?
What?
What did you say then?
I said we need to be more fun, more frivolous, more cabriolet.
Yeah, you did it again then.
What?
Cabrio gay.
Now, mate, I don't know what you're hearing, but I know what I'm saying. I think it's all that hair that's getting in the way of you hearing properly. Whatever, let's go and get changed.
The car's not where we left it.
There's a reason that the car isn't where we left it, and that's because where we were before was a public place with people, families, and the last thing that me and you, mate, need is to be on a list. Do you want to be on a list? I don't want to be on a list.
You was perfectly happy to get changed there.
That's because I know that I am properly provided in the undergarment department. Whereas I've always thought that you look like the sort of bloke who not only A, sleeps underneath hedges, B, eats out of bins, C, might possibly not have even bothered with pants. I think that you look like you're in Zodiac Mind Warp and the Love Reaction or something like that. What do you reckon? You could be Zodiac Mind Warp.
I am surprisingly comfortable with this.
What do you think about my get-up? Get this.
I wouldn't have known you was in fancy dress.
Normally, when we do this dressing up routine, I have to go on a charity shop mission. But this is all my legitimate gear that I wear in day-to-day life, including the socks and the cap. What do you reckon?
You got very warm hands.
You're no stranger to commando, are you, my friend? Anyway, are you feeling more cabriolet? I tell you what, I've got an idea.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's go and have a picnic. Yeah, let's
All right.
take our cabriolet and go and have a picnic, but only if you'll do hula hoops with me.
Is that a euphemism?
It could be. Come on.
Hasn't it been the perfect summer afternoon?
Simply marvellous.
We couldn't have hoped for a better day.
I think we've become truly cabrio gay. The Peugeot 205 is one of the 3 greatest cars made by the French. Now, a lot of people might say that's not much of a claim, but I reckon the Renault 4, the Citroën DS, and the Peugeot 205. Yeah, if I had to pick a car from the big 3 French manufacturers, and people would go, oh, what about the Citroën SM? They made about 4 of them. You know, there was a time when the only people in Britain who'd even heard of the Citroën SM were me and Martin Buckley from Classic and Sports Car. That was it.
Wouldn't you say this is more of an 80s car though?
Well, if you want to split hairs
And I do.
by Hirsute and me, then this is a 70s car, because Peugeot first thought about introducing a car this size and shape in 1977, and they did that thing that companies do, in that they had a design in-house for the car that became the 205, but they also got Pininfarina to submit a design. They've been working with Pininfarina for decades. In fact, oh look, a Lambretta, or something like a Lambretta. What? That's a bit weird. I'd almost forgotten how much fun these things are to drive. And with it being an open car, there are 2 things. One, quite a bit of skull shake. Skull shake is one of those things from the 90s, because it's not got a roof, that you've kind of forgotten about, because they've dialed it out of most convertibles these days. Oh, you got to be careful here. There's not really, this is Lancashire, there's not really room for 2 vehicles to pass here. It's very sketch. Thank you.
You enjoying yourself, Steve?
Yeah, it's this car. There's always a big debate with the 205 about whether the 1.6 or the 1.9 is more fun to drive. I drove a 1.9 recently, and it was an absolute hoot. And people said, oh, the 1.9, it's kind of the same engine, it's just got a longer stroke and therefore more capacity, and it's torquier. But this 1.6, and this is the later big valve 1.6, the earlier car is about 104 horsepower. This one's more like 115, and it's a light car. I think about 735 kilograms.
That'll be the hard top though, won't it?
I don't know if there's a big difference. Yeah, I think you're right, Paul. Thank you for pointing that out as he went into 5th gear. Do you know what I'd forgotten as well? How long the throw is on the gears. Oh, here we go. Right. Let's give it a bit of stick, shall we? You forgot how much it sort of does that. I mean, Pininfarina did a great job. Agitated, constipated, discombobulated. Problems down there. No, not athlete's foot. Yeah, those kind of problems. Well, worry no more, because Athletic Beans are here. For a simple monthly subscription of just you'll receive a tin of beans every month in a fashionably grey tin and a fashionably grey box. Scientists, well, scientists have determined that there are millions of tiny organisms living inside your gut, and they really love beans. If they don't get them, they climb up to your brain. Hey, don't ask me how that happens. I'm not a scientist. Avoid that very unpleasant scenario with Athletic Beans. Subscribe this month and we'll send you a free bowl. Just think, you could be sat outside your grey house in your grey car eating grey beans out of a grey bowl, and you'd be able to tell people that you'd done it after you did it. That's got to be worth 20 sheets. Athletic beans, only from World of Biscuit. And back to the car. Shit, guess what I just did, Paul?
What's that?
Put both feet on the brake and accelerator at the same time, which as you found out with those great galumphing flippers that you've got at the end of your legs.
They're only size 11.
I did still manage to put my foot on the brake and the accelerator as I was braking there, look. So I'm braking,
Yeah.
and I'm just catching
You're catching both.
the edge of the accelerator there, which is probably not ideal. And they've not even got any rubbers on them.
But it's a lady's car then. A lady that wears nothing on her feet.
A lady? Who was that? A lady?
David Williams?
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Cool, I wish I hadn't remembered now. And would make it less of a faff. Oh, here we go.
Oh,
Look at that.
that's just an Astra diesel. Now, 1.6 was supposed to be a finer handling car, wasn't it?
Well, why?
Because of the weight of the engine, I believe.
It's the same engine.
Ah,
That's and myth.
and myth.
And myth.
I'm glad you said that then. I'm glad I pointed it out.
The 1.9 is a long stroke version of the same engine.
Because the 1.6 revs more freely.
Because of the relatively short stroke of its pistons, Paul,
Yeah.
the 1.6 engine, particularly the big valve version,
Yeah.
of which this is one, because that came later in the life of the Peugeot 205 CTI. Would I buy one of these? Thanks for asking, Paul, rather than a steel roof GTI? Yeah, I think I would. This car is a fun, family-sized convertible and also a chuckable, revvy hot hatch. All in the same car, except it's not a hatch and the boot is bloody tiny because of all the gubbins for the roof that Pininfarina had to add. But it's not meant to be practical. That practical. It's practical for a convertible because you've got the back seat and there is less room in the back of the CTI than in the back of the GTI. Me and my pal John Myers used to go to Mr. Smith's in Warrington in his Miami Blue 205 Peugeot GTI, and we were fighting off the girls with a whip and a stick. I mean, we're both, handsome young men. I had cheekbones you could cut cheddar with back then, and hair. Red seat belts, Paul, 80s or 90s?
80s.
80s.
And
Metros and Montegos and Maestros had
red seats,
Red-
red seat belts.
red seat belts.
And red carpet. Some of them. I love a red carpet. Even if it's got a bit pink.
You can't park there, mate.
No, not that joke. I hate that joke.
What do you mean you hate that joke? Everybody loves that joke. You can't park there.
I hate it. It shows lack of imagination.
What I show a lack of right, I'll tell you what I show a lack of. All kinds of things. Intelligence, empathy, sympathy, all kinds of stuff. But not imagination. Let me show you the engine. That'll get you going. That'll get the juices flowing. How'd you do it?
No, I'm going to leave you to it, actually.
You push that like these on French cars, but you'll notice that you should always check, just in case you don't want your hand chopping off by the bonnet. Suppose you dare. The motor isn't the most advanced thing for the 90s, 8 valve, but big valves on this 1.6 and 115
Brake horsepower.
chevaux, I was going to say. That's horse, isn't it?
Chevals.
They eat horses, the French, don't they?
Yeah, we don't.
We give them to dog. Right, people are going to complain about that, right? But that's the truth of the matter.
Shall I leave that bit in? I'll take it out.
Well, it's up to you, but what if it upsets people? All I'd say is this: at least the French are honest about it.
Citron.
Citron, that's lemon, you div.
Citron.
Citron is lemon.
Citron.
Good grief. Anyway, working with a Philistine here. The engine. Consider the DS a technological marvel, but the engine was a boat anchor. Everything else about it was genius. Here, bulletproof. And the French are good at that. That's what they do. New car, old engine. Then halfway through the life of the car, new engines in the same car. And then that engine in the next car. New engine in a new car? No. No. C'est terrible idea. In the 1960s, there were all sorts of things like free love and like new mind-altering substances and rickets, but there were also good things like affordable four-seater convertibles like this adorable Hillman. Affordable convertibles sort of went away after that. Yes, you're saying there were convertibles, yeah, but they were like Porsches and Ferraris and Aston Martins and stuff like that. And in the mid-80s, along came, because VW did it first, an affordable four-seater sports car, the Peugeot 205 CTI. Now, I'll tell you what's so clever about what Pininfarina did with what was a great car to start with. They turned it into a cabriolet without ruining it. They made it better. And here's the first reason why. Look how easy it is to put the hood down and then to put the hood up again. How easy is that? And guess what it's not got? It's not got loads of heavy, complex, power-sucking, weight-adding motors and cantilevered up and down jobbies. The other thing that Pininfarina did so well, because this car was kind of built in France at the Peugeot factory, rather obviously, and they put the engine in, but it wasn't painted. They stuck some wheels on it, sent it to Italy, where Pininfarina, who really knew what they were doing with convertibles, cut the roof off and then put in all the strengthening that you need and fitted this fantastic hood, which, especially in this colour, graphite grey, makes it look like the GTI, which was a great looking car. With this car, you get two cars. You get a hot hatch and you get a fun convertible. Why they're not worth more money, I have no idea, but they soon will be. So buy one now before they're all gone. Beans are here. For a simple monthly subscription of just you'll receive a tin of beans every month in a fashionably grey tin and a fashionably grey box. I wish people had stopped doing that shit. Why are they doing that? Yep. Scientists, well, as scientists, have determined that there are, oh, for sake, got to be worth 20 sheets. You know. Done it. Oh God, that's revolting. I can't believe that eating beans full of paint is not a pleasant thing. And I think the modern man, a man who wasn't afraid to moisturise, a man who wasn't afraid to put on women's clothing for charity, which I did on various occasions, cried when Spock died in that Star Trek film. I think we all did, didn't we? Do you remember?
Spock.
When Spock was in that chamber and Jim, I think this was the 90s, I'm pretty sure it was, and Jim was on the other side of the glass and Spock died, I just burst into tears in the cinema. And I'm not afraid to admit it. We're modern men.
Yeah. Well, when I saw Watership Down, I cried.
That's just been reclassified because it was so violent, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was only 7.
No, well, yeah, well, you couldn't watch it now. They've said all the killing and death and murder, like, it's not really for the kids. An X3 or an X4 and X.
I just realised that's got nothing to do
XL5.
with the video, but it's still going in.
Well, do you not think that the personality of cars reflect the personality of the owner?
Yes. Yes,
And
I do.
certain
When you change
cars,
sometimes your personality
which
changes
are,
over there.
yeah, which are arsehole cars are driven by arsehole people.
Now then,
Now then, what?
More interesting stuff to come.